Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to tonight's Policing and Community Together meeting. My name is Sergeant Andy Holder, and I've got the responsibility for policing Stourbridge, Town, Wollaston, Norton, Pedmore and Wollascote. Tonight's meeting is being broadcast live via the internet, so people who are unable to make it tonight hopefully can join us from home and ask questions via Twitter using the hashtag AskStourbridge. That's ASK, capital S, Stourbridge. I'm also joined this evening by
PCSLD, Stourbridge.
And looking after Twitter tonight is PCSO Claire Hall, who's going to be, I'll be looking to see if there's questions coming in via the hashtag. Policing Community Together meetings are really important. It gives the local community the opportunity to hold us to account and to see how we should be policing your areas. Remember that your priorities are our priorities. As I said, it is being broadcast live over the internet now. So if there's anything of a sensitive nature, I'd ask you to come and speak to one of us in private afterwards, or if there's specific information around individuals or addresses that you want to give, please don't identify those addresses, but come and speak to us again in private afterwards. Right, so what's been going on in Stourbridge? Well, the team as a whole, we've been focusing the last month on total recorded crime in Stourbridge Town. We've seen a spate of shopliftings, but we're concerned about an increase in the amount of offences being committed there. So we've put our attention onto that location. Bit of target hardening around the shops, working closely with the business community to prevent these offences from happening. And we've made some significant arrests, the team have, of individuals who've been out stealing from the shops. And they have come with positive outcomes. And we're also looking to get criminal behaviour orders so that we can stop these people committing offences, try and get them banned from Stourbridge or from certain premises to stop their offending habits. We've also been looking at identifying offenders who've been causing harm in the local area and actually offender managing those people to try and divert them from crime and give them different opportunities to focus their attentions on. We've been continuing to work with the Rye Market car park and the public space protection order. If you're not aware that the Rye Market car park in Stourbridge, the multi-storey car park, has been blighted with antisocial behaviour of graffiti, skateboarding, criminal damage, underage drinking and the use of drugs up there. Now we've been doing a number of high visibility patrols to reduce that sort of behaviour taking place. And we've made a number of drug seizures. I've had a meeting with the environmental health and they've put out now for public consultation for a public space protection order, which basically to try and stop under 18s being on the car park, to ban the illegal use of drugs, legal highs, drinking and graffiti skateboarding, and just so that we've got some powers to move young people on, because once they're on the car, there's no need for young people to be on that car park, for the simple reason being, unless they're going to be parking a vehicle there, which is either going to be a motor car or a moped, there's no other reason for an under 18 to be on there except if they're accompanying their parents to and from the car. But what we're finding is we've got young people congregating on that car park, and we want the power to be able to move them. So that's still ongoing work. It's still part of our key patrol strategy, and it's still partnership working in terms of the local authority to get the PSPO in place. It is out there if people want to log on to the Dudley Metropolitan Borough Council website and look at the environmental health site. It will direct you to where you can put your comments, whether you agree or disagree to the public space protection order. But it is there for people to have a look at and look what's being proposed. But I think it would actually make the car parks feel a safer place to be. we've had complaints around the Chorn Park area of Stourbridge in terms of parking and speeding. Myself and Dib, we went and did a site visit yesterday, and it looks, rather than it being a parking issue, it would appear that it's being used as a rat run. And it's not the parking, it's actually people inappropriate use of speed across that road. So we have some plans to do a pro laser operation down there, and we also have identified some key people to join us in a community speed watch group, so we can train members of the public to use the pro laser, which is the speed detection device, and work with us. So we're empowering our citizens to help us and work together in a bigger team. And again, we're keen to seek volunteers from all the areas of Wollaston, Norton, Woollerscout and Pedmore to come and join us on that. We'd give you the training, we'd go through everything so that you'd know what you'd be doing and what the information, what would happen with that information once it had been passed to us. We've been focusing, or the last week we had some great information around an address in the Broadway at Norton, whereby neighbours raised concerns about suspicious activity at a house. The neighbourhood team, we went and visited that location, and we found 2 people cultivating cannabis and recovered about 300 plants. That was quite a large setup and had been sophisticatedly done because there was no smell or anything like that. But it was a great result. 2 people have been arrested and are facing the court process for cultivation of cannabis. And again, without the public's help, we wouldn't have had that result. So any suspicions or any information like that, please come forward and let us know, so it's something that we can act upon. Warmer nights are here, and with that, people are leaving windows and doors unlocked to get ventilation in. And as you've just said, the cars.
Parked cars.
Yeah.
Nobody in them, and all the windows are open.
Yeah, and we're putting that message out.
Streets.
No, it's all right, Liz. We're putting that message out that consideration about alternative methods of cooling down, or look and seeing if the window that you're leaving open, is it leaving the house vulnerable? Is there a flat roof there? Is there a blind spot where nobody'd be able to see if there people climbing through that window? We don't want to give people the opportunity. We had one incident in Wollaston, just off Vicarage Road, where somebody had been disturbed at 10:30 at night. Fortunately, it was a suspicious incident as opposed to an actual break-in or an attempt break-in. But we don't know what the reasons were for that person to be in that back garden. But we have had prowlers around there, so just don't give people the opportunity. Look at using the vents on your windows, look at using fans. If you are going to leave your windows open, put them on vent and lock the windows, just to make them secure. Look at property marking of your stuff, and also taking photographs of expensive goods. So if they do go back, we've got a way of identifying them. That said, crime is still low in Stourbridge, so I don't want people to go away from tonight's meeting thinking that Stourbridge is a crime hotspot. Far from it. Crime still remains low in Stourbridge in comparison to the rest of the force. There may be spikes of crime of high percentages, but when you actually look at the raw figures of those, they're actually 3 or 4 offences as opposed to 15, 20 offences. So please rest assured that Stourbridge still remains a safe place to live, work and visit. We had a great day at the Stourbridge Carnival on Sunday, and I think that was a really successful event that was put on by the Stourbridge business community and the parish council. I think it was a really good event and high numbers of visitors to the location without a crime reported. So that is absolutely fantastic. It actually sums up Stourbridge and the wider Black Country. Have we got any questions on Twitter yet? Okay. Norton was still focusing on excessive speed, especially on the summer weekends with motorcycles and cars going out towards Worcestershire using the Norton Road. We will continue to monitor the speed down that road to see if we can, if there are any breaches of the speed limit. It is a reminder to the public that previously it was a 40-mile-an-hour road. It is now a 30-mile-an-hour road. The signs are up, and everybody should be aware of that. Mary Stevens Park, as we talk about Norton Road, Mary Stevens Park is going through some great renovation, and it's been a really attractive site to see how it's developing from all the building works taking place, and it's coming on in leaps and bounds, and I think that's a credit to the Friends of Mary Stevens Park and the local authority. We continue to police that location. We've actually visited the park, and we've had very little instance of antisocial behaviour reported down there. We've done a lot of engagement work down there. We had an episode where we had to arrest somebody in the park the other week who was drunk in charge of children. But that was a one-off incident, and that wasn't anything to do with the park. That was about somebody's inappropriateness with alcohol and not being responsible with it to be in charge of young people. And obviously, we've got a job to protect the most vulnerable in society, and that's where we will continue to focus our attentions as well. Is there any concerns from yourselves? Carrie, I understand that you went out with the street, or you told me you went out with the street pastors on, was it Friday night? Saturday night.
Yeah.
And obviously the nighttime economy has had a bad reputation to a certain degree of Stourbridge, but I think your experience of going out with the street pastors who do a great job puts a different slant on things, doesn't it?
Yeah, I must say I was quite pleasantly surprised. It was a very warm night, and I did actually stay till the end, which was about 2:45. And we didn't see any acts of people playing up or antisocial behaviour. Okay, there were a few drunks around, but what really surprised me was the way that the young people interacted with the street pastors. They were all walking up to them and saying, "Hello, how are you? Have you got some water? Have you got a lollipop?" Or alternatively coming up and actually asking the street pastors what they did. And you got comments like, "Well, wouldn't you rather be tucked up in bed?" Not in a nasty, in a discourteous way, but it was just a very nice atmosphere. There were a couple of incidents where people, I think, had too much to drink and were ill. But again, they were just dealt with so nicely by everybody around, and as well, the fact that the young people look after each other.
Yeah.
They were coming up and saying, "Oh, what's the matter with them? Can we do anything?" So I just thought it was really good.
I think,
and they must be praised, both the young people and the pastors, because they do a fantastic job.
I mean, the street pastors are a great resource for us to call upon, and their help is invaluable, and long may it continue. We're also looking at introducing taxi marshals. Sergeant Mark Butler, who works on the CAP teams at Stourbridge, he's actually looking at forming a taxi marshal so we can get the taxis, people booked, in making sure they get into the right vehicles, and give them the reassurance that way. So that's something that's still in its infancy of development, but hopefully we should see before the end of the summer that we'll have taxi marshals out on the high street, giving some more support to the street pastors. I know Alison and her team are really fantastically involved and keen to make Stourbridge a safer place, and they send us through a report after every weekend about what's happened, so we're not missing information even when we can't always be there. But I think it's a great system, and it's nice to hear. And I think it's an important message, really, that I suppose that young people always be young, and it's having that tolerance as well to a certain degree, that everybody has to go back and say, actually, they're not as bad as they're made out to be, because I think Stourbridge is still a nice place during the day and at night. Any questions? No? Okay. Dib?
I'd just like to say thanks to the coordinators, local coordinators we've got. Big thank you to all of them for all the continued support that they give us. Obviously, some have made it tonight, some we understand it's holiday season there, some perhaps can't make it, but I'd just probably like to say thank you to all of them for all the hard work they do, and the message we get, we pass it all through our coordinators, it all gets passed through, and it does get passed through, so a big thank you, really. To all of you for the continued support.
What is great to see is the information that people are giving us. We are acting upon it as soon as we can, and I want to encourage that flow of information coming through, because we cover 3 neighbourhoods in Stourbridge, and we rely on the public's eyes and ears to give us that information, and we really need your support to help us reduce crime even further in Stourbridge, to make it an even safer place to live, work and visit. Well, our priorities will continue to be the rye market in Stourbridge. We'll be focusing on reducing total recorded crime. We're having a bit of an episode with mopeds again on the Kingsway, Cornwall Road, Rutland Place. We've had reports of mopeds being ridden antisocially and without helmets. So we will be looking at policing down there and looking at deploying different tactics to identify people using those vehicles, so that they can be reported for driving otherwise in accordance with the licence and no insurance where those offences have been committed, and also using the Police Reform Act to issue warnings about using vehicles in an antisocial way, which applies not only to the vehicle but to the rider or driver, and that's an ongoing piece of work. We've got our speeding issues on Chorn Park and on Norton that we'll be focusing on, but we've made some real inroads. We did have a burglary of a building spike in the Stourbridge Town Centre, which you may have seen in the Stourbridge News or Chronicle. A key individual has been arrested recently and has been sentenced for burglaries elsewhere, and since his incarceration there has been a reduction in burglaries of other buildings. In fact, there hasn't been any overnight in Stourbridge Town. Can't say it's hit that person for definite, but it's a coincidence. And I'll leave it at that.
Is there any truth in the 2 cars going round trying to get the kids? Because we're hearing all sorts.
I think the social media aspect of that, and that social media is brilliant in some ways. It's being investigated. I don't want to jeopardise an ongoing investigation, but I don't think it's being investigated. But I don't think it's as social media is making it out to be. I think there may be other criminality associated with that in terms of, but I don't want to jeopardise that investigation. But it is being investigated, and I want people to, any suspicious vehicles, anything like that, please call us, give that information so we can act on it.
I have got one part to do.
Okay. Is there any questions via Twitter?
No.
Right then. Well, again, this is our, I think this is our 3rd attempt at a live PAT meeting over the internet. I thank you for your attendance in person. It's really important that you do come and maintain and hold us to account and listen to what we're doing. And if you've got a say, please don't be afraid to ask or raise anything with us, either publicly or privately afterwards.
I'll just ask if somebody's interested in joining the community speed groups, who do they get in touch with?
If they can email, if they put the postcode into the West Midlands Police website, go onto their neighbourhood team and drop an email into us, and then we'll pick it up. It's PC John Edwards who's coordinating the Speed Watch group for us. But it's easier if people use the West Midlands Police website, put their postcode in, they find the correct neighbourhood team, and they can drop an email into them. It's also got the links on there to the Ask the Local Police or Ask Police, so you can have a look at what the crime is like, crime figure wise in your local area where you're living, West Midlands Police website is quite user-friendly and straightforward to use. Or if people haven't got access to the internet, I know that not everybody's internet connected, use 101 and they can ask for me, Sergeant Holder 9727, and they can be put through to my office, and if I'm not there, there's a voicemail facility. We'll pick that up and I'll get John to get in touch with them. But it's really important that we can get members of the public to join our speed watch groups, because we can't be there all the time, and if there's other eyes and ears that could be deployed, then that would be brilliant.
I'm just nodding, dimly smiling. Gotta do something.
Right then. So, well, thanks for coming. I know it's a busy night, and that you've taken the time to come down here tonight, and that's really appreciative. I'd like to publicly thank Dudley Council for letting us use the library tonight to hold the meeting. I think it's a nice place, and it's a credit to the town that we've got these facilities to be able to use and to connect with more people hopefully. So, thank you. Anything on before we go?
No.
All right then. Well, thank you for that, and good night.